I'm Mark Heinlein with the NTCA, and today is February 3rd, 2021, and this is NTCA's Roundtable Live series. And our host today is NTCA's president, Mr. Martin Brookes, and we're going to be having a discussion with Martin today, and he will be letting us know about himself, his vision for the NTCA, and he's available to take any questions that you might have, and we're looking forward to hearing from you. Without further delay, Mr. Martin Brookes. Hi, Martin.
Hey, Mark. Thank you for that introduction. So welcome, everyone. First and all, to everyone, it's a pleasure to serve you all as NTCA president for 2021 through 2023. I'm excited to take this position, and it's been one heck of a ride for me getting involved with NTCA, both professionally and personally. A lot of growth, a lot of friends, a lot of peers, a lot of knowledge, and it's been a real success story for me. I started getting involved with NTCA probably about 15 years ago. Reached out for information I couldn't find. Internet wasn't as full as information as it is today, but I got myself in a couple of tight spots, needed some help, made a call to Jackson, Mississippi, spoke to a couple of guys there and thought, wow, these guys know what they're talking about, and joined, and it's the best thing I ever did, both personally and for my business. So I'm here to serve as president for the next 2 years and look forward to meeting you all and doing what I can to help advance NTCA.
Martin, about how many years ago was that you placed that call down to Jackson?
15 years. So it was a while. And when I first made that call, I joined, I wrote the check, sent it in by mail, got my welcome package. I think Don Scott was the president back then. And, didn't really get overly involved. And then once Jim Olson came on board, he started to talk to me on a regular basis. He said, you should come to Surfaces and check us out. I went to Surfaces, met everyone, and thought, wow, what a cool set of guys. It's like, I really like this. It's a good feeling. Like-minded people, a wealth of information from all over the country, not just my region of Northern California. And then Jim asked me if I'd head out the regional director for Region 11 for NTCA. And I took that position and started to grow membership in Northern California. Michael Whistler was the trainer back then. He came through, did a couple of workshops. We had huge growth. We managed to convince people it was the right thing to do. And we saw a lot of growth in those first few years in Northern California. And it was a hard nut to crack. We'd not seen much growth in Region 11. And once we started to get word out and show them what NTCA was about, it was great. It was great for the industry and for the installers too.
So your region is 11, Northern California, and NTCA has 12 regions total. Mm-hmm. Where exactly are you in Northern California? And tell us a little bit about your business.
I'm in the Bay Area, in Mill Valley. It's a town probably about 5 miles over the Golden Gate Bridge heading north. It's a small community. My main target audience is San Francisco, over in Contra Costa, Berkeley, Oakland, and then down the peninsula, Atherton, San Mateo County. And we have some great builders that we've built relationships with. They don't go anywhere but Heritage Marble and Tile. We deliver a great product, offer value, and they're happy with our work. They're more than happy, otherwise they won't be with us. I mean, our relationships are long-term relationships with these builders, like 10 plus years that they've been with us for that length of time and enjoy working with us. We look at it as being a team player. I always say it's like a cake mix. It's if you get that cake mix right, why swap out the ingredients? If it works right every time, then stick with it. And typically the new contractors that bring us on board are very happy. They've been let down in the past, and they bring us on board through a referral, word of mouth. They bring us on board, and we just picked up a new one. And he's like, "What have I been doing all these years with my other contractor?" He said, "I'm never going back." And he carries my numbers on every job for the last year or so. He just asks me for numbers and doesn't use anyone else's numbers. So there's a trust thing there too, that he knows that he can trust us, that we're not gouging, that we're fair, and that the level of service is way over and above what other tile companies have been offering him. So, and that's how we've grown the business. I have a zero budget for advertising. It's all word of mouth, referral based, and we feel like we're in a good position.
That's very successful. How has your NTCA membership helped your business?
Well, it's helped me promote it in a way. Most people don't know what NTCA is. So it's on my cards, it's on my letterheads, it's on my invoices. And I do hope, and I know that the contractors who stay with us understand it. Like one called me up when I was Tile Person of the Year last year and thanked me. I didn't even let him know, but it somehow searched my name out and found it, and then congratulated me for that award. And he actually then shared it with some of his customers. And I think it just snowballs, because then they plug in the name, they start to see other stuff pop up about heritage marble and tile, and it gives you credibility that they start to read about you, know what you're about, know how long you've been involved in the tile industry, and know that you're not just a fly-by-night, and that you have true credibility and you know what you're talking about when you go in. I mean, I think that's one of the things that I've gained the most, is the confidence to be able to go in there and talk to people, knowing that I really understand this industry and I understand the materials I work with on a level that most installers don't get, they don't know, they don't understand. And that's, again, through NTCA, through participating in training and education opportunities, talking with the manufacturers on a one-to-one basis, and understanding how everything fits together and how it works.
So everybody that's coming in and joining the meeting after we've started, I want to let you know we're talking today with NTCA's president, Martin Brookes of Heritage Marble and Tile in the Golden Gate, San Francisco Bay Area of California, NTCA's Region 11. Welcome to our roundtable with Martin, and please feel free to ask Martin any questions and join the conversation with him.
Yeah, and I'm always open anytime, Mark. I'll give you my phone number, 415-548-0483. If anybody wants to reach out to me, ask me questions, please do so. I like to talk, and I like to meet people, especially NTCA members. So please feel free to reach out to me.
I can attest to that. Martin and I have terrific conversations. You want to take him up on that offer to give him a call. Martin, you said you're an award-winning contractor. Your business has won awards. You've won awards personally. I think you're also an NTCA 5-star contractor. Is that right?
Correct. A 5-star contractor, which, it's like, first of all, I think I was the first one in Northern California, maybe the first one in California, but then others soon followed. I think we probably have maybe 5 or 6 in the Bay Area, and they're larger companies. There's a couple. I think Russ Laird up in Northern California, up in Sacramento area, is a smaller contractor, but they're typically larger companies. But I use it, again, to validate my expertise in the tile world, and just point people in that direction. If they have any questions about my company or our ability, pointing them into the 5-star program and having them read up about it gives them just that extra level of confidence that you're the right people for the job.
Absolutely. And how I like to put it is, being if you're in the tile industry, if you're a professional and you're making your money with tile in some way, you should be a member of a professional association. And for a contractor, that's the NTCA.
I agree. It's like any other profession, like an attorney or a doctor. They're all part of an association of some sort, where they can collaborate, get together, and share stories, share tips and tricks, and also have the opportunities that an association brings, like buying power, programs that you probably wouldn't get as just a one person out there. And that's where NTCA is able to offer real value in programs and things that you probably wouldn't get just by yourself, like rebate programs, health, retirement, etc. So, it really is an exceptional association for a very small, actually the investment it's negative, you get more back than you put in. So with the voucher program, so it's just a great, solid, well-run, with the gold standard of Jim and Bart, and then having the people like yourself, Rob, Randy, Luis. It's just a very rock solid association.
It really is. And it's all about the people. And, you mentioned some of the member benefits, and you mentioned that you get more out of it than what you put in. And I think you're a terrific example of that. You've obviously put a lot in. You became a member 15 years ago, and today you're the NTCA's president.
Right.
To me, that seems like a pretty high-speed, fast-paced path there.
And I would say for all those out there that think that they can't get to being president of NTCA, rethink that one. I came in as a newbie, to a very 70-plus year association, and was able to work my way up the ranks by being involved and giving back. And it was very rewarding to me to get rewarded back. It's a two-way street. You put in your time, you participate, you join committees. But then people see the potential, and then they reward you with the potential that they see in you to start moving up the ranks. And if you feel like you have the time to give back and mentor and add value to other members, it's a great, rewarding thing to do. And it's like every day. It's like I have a passion for tile. I always have. I've been doing masonry and tile since 1978, and it's one of those, I was just fortunate to drop into it. I came from Chesterfield in England, and it was like the Rust Belt of England, a lot of coal mining, steel works, and my future was really going to be either in a steel mill or a mine. I'm claustrophobic, so the mine didn't work out so well. And the steel mills, I used to drive by those when I was an apprentice. I used to be on a bus going by those in the morning, and the pounding from the steel mills you could hear from miles away, and it's like, I don't care too much for that either. And I feel fortunate because all those have gone. On my visits back to the UK, there's nothing. They're all housing estates or industrial parks. There's no steel or coal mining left. And back then, apprenticeship program, I was a bound apprentice, signed a contract with a company that sponsored my education for 4 years, had to stay with them for an extra year, 5 years. But I didn't think at the time, because they paid me poorly because they were paying for my education. At the time, I thought, as my fellow schoolmates left school and went into the coal mining industry or the steel, they were making 2x, 3x more money than I was. And now I look back and it's like, wow, it's a pretty smart move to not go down the coal mine or the steel industry and have a trade and be able to work with my hands that nobody could ever take away. So, I feel fortunate that I chose that path.
So not just trained from the ground up craftsman, apprentice to all the way master craftsman, but you're a business owner too, a successful business owner. There's a lot of opportunity in the tile industry, and you certainly represent that.
Well, I work for, I moved pretty fast. So 21 years old in England, I ended up being a foreman for a company, and I had people who were twice, even maybe 3 times my age working under me. And the guys got a little, it got confrontational because they were taking orders from a guy who was just out of college and just learning the trade. And so, it's like I had to set a few people straight, and then I moved on, went to another company, stayed with that company for 15 years, but learned a lot. We did a lot of renovations, house remodeling. We'd be outside building in the summer months, and then inside during the winter months, and that's where the tile aspect came in. And then in 1994, decided to take the opportunity and move to. I had an opportunity. I was married to a half American, half English girl, get my visa in London, my green card, and then come over in '94 and landed in Mill Valley. Bought my first house here. It's like houses right now are through the roof, but I managed to buy a nice house for $320,000, which today that same house is probably $2.5 million. And it was a pretty easy transition. Came here without any contacts, no job. Started looking in the newspaper under classifieds. Found a job opening for a large masonry company building Walmarts, Kmarts. Ended up being hired by that guy through a labor pool. And the guy, after a month, offered me a full-time job. He paid the severance from the labor pool. And I was just at the beginning, just tying steel in masonry in cement blocks and masonry block. And then I ended up running that guy's company after about a year, 6 months to a year. Started to run his company and started to build Kmart's, Walmarts all over Northern California. Got burned out with that. Started working union. Went to work union in both masonry and tile. Took a job over in Hawaii, the Sheraton, doing the remodel there. Came back to Northern California, worked a little bit doing refractory brick and some tile downtown San Francisco. '96 decided to take my state license and become a business owner and a licensed contractor. Did the C54, which is the tile license, but I also got the C29 license, which enables me to do slab work and larger jobs with the C29 masonry. It's really strange in California how the tile guy can't do the slab work apart from countertops. They can't hang on the wall or anything, and it needs to be a C29 license. But I have both those, so I'm able to incorporate both aspects of the trade. Started by myself with a pickup truck and a helper. Worked, as you all guys know, started your own business. You probably know 12 hours is not out the norm. At least 6 days a week, going to Home Depot after I got off work, running bids during my lunch break. I mean, a lot of hard work, but motivated to do that hard work because it was rewarding. The financial aspect was very rewarding, but you're going to burn yourself out going at that pace. Then decided to hire Gabriel, who's still with me. In probably 96, 97, he came on board, and he's been my rock solid guy. He is an amazing craftsman. He's the guy, if anybody saw the grotto this year that we won with the CID and the 5-star award, he's the guy behind that. The guy can float, he can do layouts, he can do the tricky stuff nobody else even wants to look at. He is an amazing craftsperson. And still with me. I'm hoping that one day he'll take over the business and I can step off the gas a little bit and he can take over. But and we've got other people who've been with us for many years too that we brought up through the ranks, and they typically go under Gabriel's wing for a while to see if they're going to make it, and then he'll decide whether they've got it in them to stay with us or we ask them to move on.
That is a heck of a lot of experience and a terrific structure that you have internally to build your staff and train your people. Cody Cox from Cox Tile in San Antonio has a question in the chat.
Hey, Cody.
For you.
I know I was on the phone with his dad today.
I think his dad's on there too. We're watching him drive down the road. Keep your eyes on the road there, John. Cody, I'll go ahead and read your question here. For Martin, can you share your story on the pathway you took within the NTCA organization from being the new guy 15 years ago all the way to becoming president? What were the different ways? You mentioned committees and things like that. What were the different ways that you got involved? Did you hold any other positions before you became the president?
Yeah, well, I've been on the technical committee and the standards and methods committee for a while, and I headed the membership committee, and that's something I took under my wing, and that's where we saw a lot of growth with NTCA. Maybe it was timing, maybe people liked my voice, but I was able to sell a lot of memberships and get people involved just by being. I mean, I'm a small company. I'm not running 200 guys. I run 6 guys and myself, and I have a home office, and we're a small company. So we've got everything streamlined. I use a lot of tech to help me streamline my business. So I'm a big QuickBooks user. I have my workers' comp integrated to that. I run my own payroll through assisted payroll. And thanks to Amber turning me on to Busy, I use that app for time tracking, job costing, etc. So I've been able to take advantage of technology and integrate that into my business so I don't have a lot of overhead, Mark, and I'm able to streamline things a lot better. And Stephen just popped up. I think I gave him Sal was the hardest sell I've ever had on a membership. And Steve was easy because I gave him my pin and gave it to him, and I said, if you join, you can have this pin. He joined straight away. But Sal, he was like a little tough. He was a tough nut to crack, but I managed to get him as a member. But you know, as a small company, we have most of our members are small shops that probably operate similar to me, and that's where I see the potential growth of a lot of guys out there who don't know about NTCA or feel like it's too big for them. It's really not. Most of us are small guys trying to make a living, trying to streamline our businesses, trying to save a buck, and just trying to have a business that runs smoothly and efficiently. And that's what NTCA, or that's what I want to do with NTCA, and welcome those people in. And I think that's important. We're not all large 200, 300 guy companies.
That's right, Martin. It's not about selling memberships. It's about bringing other people into this terrific association to get to know other people. And I remember that time where we had Stephen there and Sal. I think we might have been at the House of Blues or somewhere interesting. And Stephen is reminding you that you bribed them with an NTCA pin. So that's what
I didn't bribe him.
That's how he remembers.
It was a gift, Stephen. It was a gift.
Yeah, we don't do bribes. Shannon Huffstickler of Schluter Corporation has a question for you. She's on here. And Shannon says that it would be interesting to hear more specific details about getting involved. What does that look like? What kind of opportunities can other people, can our members do to get on these committees that you mentioned, like the technical committee and some of our other committees? How do they get involved? What sort of time commitment is required? Do they require qualifications to be considered for committee assignments? How does all that work, Martin?
Well, I mean, the first thing is to join. Once you've joined, then if you have the ability to travel and you can attend surfaces or coverings or TSP, that's where you get an introduction into finding out who these people are and how everything fits together. And with our technical committee meetings, you can sit in on those. It's open. You can sit in the peanut gallery at the back and listen to the sausage making in progress, and then see if that's something that interests you, because you have a say in how your tile gets installed or how manufacturers make a product. You've got a say. You've got a seat at the table. And even non-NTCA members benefit from that with the collaboration we have with manufacturing, distribution, and the install side. And that really is the trifecta, the thing that really is the real value of NTCA, how we have a seat at the table and are able to, if we feel like the ship's being steered in the wrong direction, we can bring it back with our information, our knowledge, and our comments to have it more aligned with how we in the field are working with those materials. And I think that really is key. And so you can come, you can join, you can sit, you can listen, introduce yourself, and maybe have me or one of the other NTCA members chaperone you so you don't feel intimidated, because you've got a lot of people in that room who are industry icons. And it can be a little intimidating when you first go in there and you see you meet the people for the first time, but you've seen the names and you've read the articles online. And so it can be a little bit intimidating, but feel free to reach out and have somebody take you in there if you feel like it's a little intimidating, just to get to know and get introductions.
Yeah, right. Shannon, I hope that answers your question there. And I agree, Martin. attend some of the meetings if you can. Being able to come and meeting everybody in person is a tremendous thing. Seeing how the committees work and then realizing, wow, I can be a part of this. And I think of our motto for the NTCA, we're the voice of the tile contractor. And you said it very well. We're connected. I like to call it the NFL of the tile industry. We're connected with the manufacturers, the distributors. We're the voice of the tile contractors. So this is how you connect with everybody else. And in fact, we have some manufacturers here today. We have a setting material manufacturer and some other people. We've got a tile manufacturer here listening, and they're all part of supporting NTCA and what we get out in terms of training. You mentioned training, and I know that's very near and dear to my heart and what we do, and that's very critical for the tile industry and for all of us involved.
Right. And I think it makes it more intimate when, for instance, Shannon, it's like, once you know Shannon, you get a phone number or you get her email, and you're no longer dealing with Schluter, you're dealing with Shannon. So it makes it more personal and more intimate. So you have an industry connection. It's not just like you're calling a call center up and somebody's reading from a book. I know Will White's on here too. And it's like, these people are approachable from a manufacturing standpoint. Where if you have a question that goes over and above somebody just reading from a script, you can ask that more detailed technical question and get that answer back more quickly than just, and no disrespect to those people at the call center, but they're very limited on their knowledge of what they can give you back because typically it's just like a questions and answers book that they're reading from. And these people are more than willing, I know them personally, they're more than willing to spend some time with you on the phone to give you an answer, to walk you through it, so you don't make the mistake and it doesn't cost you dearly. And that really is important because as a man, it's like nobody asks on the road when you're lost, right, to where you are. It's like for some reason you'd rather drive around for 3 hours than winding your window down and saying, hey, where's the nearest Starbucks? And it's the same in the tile world. It's like you're not quite sure about something, but you're not willing to stop and make a phone call and ask. That 5-10 minute phone call can save you thousands of dollars, if not more, and your reputation if you just make that call. And it's like, even today, if we're not sure about something, with all the knowledge that myself and my guys have in the field, we stop and make a phone call because I'm not afraid to make that phone call, seeing as what it can cost if you don't make that call.
Hey, Martin, I have a question for you. Hi, buddy. I've been very fortunate enough to visit Martin in Mill Valley. We have family there, so he gets stuck seeing me show up from time to time just to eat steak. But
you got to come soon.
Please. I know. As soon as I get my COVID clearance, I'm ready. But I think one of the things about being a manufacturer, and I noticed some of my other friend manufacturers on here, I'm looking at their faces, and there's hidden benefits to NTCA that I don't think everyone recognizes. When you're a 5-star contractor, and you had talked about some of the things that you were doing, and even just an NTCA member, speak to how being a member gives you access to a lot of people within the manufacturing community of setting materials and substrates and tools and adhesives and tile and finish pieces and stuff, because it's a very big industry out there, and this is where we meet people. And there's some things that I don't know if everybody recognizes, that being part of the organization is phenomenal, but as a manufacturer, your people have access to us.
Right.
Martin, before you answer that,
to add,
Mark, can you tell us who you are so everybody knows?
Oh, well, I don't like to share, but I'm Mark Shannon. I'm Executive Vice President of Crossville Ceramics. I've been part of NTCA for many, many years. I'm involved as a board member at NTCA, and I'm the chairman of the CTF, which I wouldn't be without the help of Mr. Carruthers. So I really enjoy the associations, and I particularly think that of all the associations I belong to, and trust me, I'm involved with IIDA, ASID, a number of organizations in our industry. This one is by far and away the best organized, the most effective, and has the deepest amount of thought and support that I've ever seen. IIDA is pretty good on the design side, but this group is amazing.
Thank you, Mark. I remember being at a 5-star meeting that Crossville put on, and so welcoming. We got to meet the owner. Tim was the trainer at that point, and we got to see Gage Porcelain when it was first being rolled out, and how Crossville headed that out. And they were the leaders in the gold standard in the training and education, for sure, on thin panel. And just like so, and even today, I can call Noah Chitty up, and even if it's not a Crossville product, he will answer a question
Absolutely.
and give me a valid answer to a competitive manufacturer's product. And he will be unbiased in his opinion about that. And that's the beauty of being a member of NTCA and the access, the gateway to all these people who are industry icons. And that's something that NTCA that we appreciate, to have that collaboration and to have that strength in numbers behind us. Me and Mark, by the way, share the same hairdresser, barbers. So if you get in a little shine off there, just let me know. I might grow a beard, Mark. That looks. I'm thinking about growing that.
Looking pretty good. What about those hidden benefits, Martin?
Well, the hidden benefits, we have a lot. We've got shipping programs. I actually got a call today, but I need to call the guy back from the medical, and there's a retirement, there's a 401k. We've got a whole list. There's even Keen work boots, a rebate program with Keen work boots. So, go online, take a look at what the benefits are once you log on the member side, and take a look, because I don't think a lot of people actually seek out all the benefits, and they're probably not aware of all the benefits that being a member of NTCA has to offer.
Ron Nash, did you have something to add, sir?
Hey, Ron.
Okay. Jump on in. You're muted. If anybody has anything to add, Ron, you can unmute and jump in, or anyone else. If you have something to add to the conversation or a question for Martin Brookes, president of the NTCA.
Hey, do you mind if I make a comment?
Please.
Hey, Chris.
Hey, Martin. Probably, when did you get involved11 Martin, in the NTCA? How many years ago was that?
I joined 15 years ago, but to really get involved was probably like 12 years ago.
So time flies. I remember before we really saw Martin getting actively involved, we had a very small presence on the West Coast. And it was really the efforts of a guy like Martin getting people engaged. Even though we had membership in the West Coast, there wasn't much of an engaged membership. Sam, I think you'll attest to that. Your family and your company has been involved in the NTCA for many, many years, but it's just kind of through word of mouth and you guys pulling together and actively talking about all the different things that were going on. And now Mark getting back out to the West Coast, where this really started to gain a lot of speed. So it talks to Shannon's question about getting involved. It's amazing how much impact one single person can have on a big association like this. And yes, of course, there's many, many people who are responsible for that success, especially the staff like Mark and Randy and Rod and all those people. But gosh, I can't tell you how almost amazing it was that people began to get drawn to Martin as much as they got drawn to the NTCA just by the power of his personality. So, that's kind of a huge testament to Martin's leadership, but also to the fact that they don't stay if they don't see value. So It's just kind of a cool story as far as I'm concerned.
And one of the things you have to combat is the too good to be true, because they always say, how can it be? It sounds too good to be true. What's the catch? There is no catch. It's a trade association that with Jim Olson has managed to put Partnering for Success together and push it out there, that we're rewarded by the manufacturers for our participation in the industry. There's nothing hidden. There's no catch. It just truly is a great organization.
It really is. And I can tell you it certainly helped my business, and I'm fortunate to be here today on the NTCA staff, and I can speak to what Mark Shannon said. The connections that we, our NTCA members and the staff and all of NTCA to the tile industry through the manufacturers and distributors that support all of us, that hidden benefit that Mark Shannon mentioned just blows my mind every single day. The connection you get as a member are
and
huge.
also having, like Mark just said, as a testimonial about how the manufacturers and the distributors look at us too. I mean, we have the utmost respect for them, but they look at us with the same respect back. And I think that's what makes it a team effort on the three sides, is that we all come together. We all, they make beautiful tile. Somebody distributes beautiful tile. And then the finishing touch is we install beautiful tile. And if any of those three things break down, we've failed. And they understand that, we understand that, and we want to deliver a product to the end user that meets all those three criteria. So it's a win-win.
We talk about failures a lot. I think a lot of us on this call have heard a lot about failures, and we want to avoid those. And this is how we get it done for the tile industry.
And the worst thing for me is also, I have tile inspection services as a consultant, is going out there and see a contractor get thrown under the bus and probably taken out of business. That's not something as a contractor myself I want to see. And it's sad to see it, but I see a lot of people out there who run the business job to job, and they don't have the insurance behind them to cover a job failure. And a small job failure takes them out of business. They can't afford that $3,000 or $4,000 they have to spend to rectify that tile or to rectify that leaky shower. They can't afford it, and they end up going out of business. That's where meeting the people within NTCA, your peers and your mentoring helps. I've seen it with Tile Money with Luke. Helps people recognize the true value, and you shouldn't be discounting your true value. And it's just a matter of, first of all, as an association, you can find out what the good contractors are charging, how they making it work in your area, because it's area by area. One of the things I don't like to see is on some of the social media platforms is how much a square foot. Well, it all depends what your overhead, what your burden is. I mean, we're such a large country that from Florida to California can range dramatically on your square foot price or your day rate prices. So it's an unfair question, and I think that leads people down the wrong path when you start doing that. Talk to somebody in your own area, somebody who you look upon as being successful and a good installer, to find out what their secret sauce is and how they're making it work. You don't want to be the one at the bottom who's getting dragged along by the one at the bottom. You want to try to elevate yourself, take it to another level, and really take advantage of your true value and your craftsmanship.
Martin, how can all of us in this meeting communicate with those people that haven't yet discovered this aspect of their professionalism of the tile industry and the NTCA in particular? How can we communicate to those people and convince them to become a part of all of this?
Well, every NTCA member that I've come across is more than willing to help a fellow NTCA member. And nobody that I've met ever has a problem talking to a fellow NTCA member. And I think NTCA also offers those lifelong friendships with other contractors, whether it be in your neighborhood or in the rest of the country on a national basis. And so I think just reaching out and not being afraid to ask for help is really key. Knowing that the NTCA members are typically open to that and open to mentoring and helping. So I've got a few in my area that I pass work at. Russ, I had 2 calls a couple of weeks ago, and I passed those jobs. I couldn't do them, and I passed them on to Russ Led at A+ Tile, who's a 5-star contractor. And one of them I know that he's working on as we speak. He took that job right away. So that obviously worked out for him. And I would rather it go to an NTCA or a 5-star contractor member than somebody out of the yellow pages or online, because I know that they're going to get a job done well, and that person I have a relationship with, and it keeps it keeps the call that came to me, it keeps that guy in contact with me because I've given him a good resource. And it's just a really good networking tool for fellow NTCA and 5-star members.
Outstanding. Anybody else have a question or something they'd like to chat with Martin Brookes, president of the NTCA, about? Feel free to jump on in. We've got Martin here for about 10 or 15 more minutes. We also have, I want to introduce, for those of you who may not know him, Chris Walker is our recent past president. Chris, could you tell us, I want to ask you, what is your role in the NTCA right now?
The 2-year president term passes to a 2-year chairman term, and then there are 2 2-year board advisor terms. All that's intended to assure continuity in the leadership, and just so that there's a, when somebody asks the question, well, why did we do this? There's one of the old guys hanging around that could possibly answer that question. And I guess I'm the old guy now. So, as I think I've said in the past to some of my friends on this call right now, that the executive committee is just, they are temporary stewards to the permanent leadership, which is, Bart and Jim and Randy and Mark and all those guys, and Scott and all the folks that work real hard every day to get everything done that the NTCA is so successful at. So we come in as essentially the executive committee. We've probably been on committees or on a board for the NTCA in the past. We're familiar with the goals of the NTCA, and we just, like I said, we're temporary stewards trying to make sure that we're headed in the right direction, and hopefully we have a little bit of vision, maybe a couple of good ideas along the way. I want to, since you're pointing me out, I'm going to share a story about John Cox, who's on this call. John was a part of a group that preceded me in the existing executive committee, and that was the group of guys that was basically Dan Welsh and John and James Wolfel, and that was kind of a group that kind of came out of nowhere, that got real involved, and kind of like I was talking about how Martin was the cult of personality that brought a lot of people to his atmosphere, if you will. John and his crew were that same group of guys, and then it kind of moved into the different crew, which is Martin and me, and some of the other guys that are kind of aging out right now. So we are just stewards. We go through the budgets, we go through the 5-year plan. We look to guys like Mark Shannon and Ron Nash to help, show us where the trends in the industry are, so we don't get lost and or led astray. I don't know. Does that answer the question?
Sure does. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. And there is a historical mind going in, and Martin is our current president, and we also have the up and coming president and vice president. Martin, could you introduce us to Sam?
Oh, Sam Bruce is the current vice president. He is the CEO of Visalia Tile in the Central Valley in California. I can't say Southern California or Northern because they're right in the middle. It could go either way. But Sam's a younger guy, got a lot of energy, plays golf well, always brings a couple of bottles of wine to the meetings, and just a great guy. And hopefully you can get to know him, get introduced to him, and get to know what he's about. He's a family man too. I know that his kids play soccer. He's on this call, right?
He is. Sam,
yeah, I'm here.
You want to get on, Sam, and just rather than me say it, you can say it.
Well, I didn't know if we were going to save that for the next roundtable or not, but yeah. So I am in Citral, California, Visalia. Not many people have heard of that, but we're kind of in Visalia because representatives from the South come see us. The representatives from the North really don't want to come see us. So for a long time, we weren't really involved, with the NTCA, although we were members, since '92. But with some push from people like Mark Shannon and Mary over at Schluter, we got more involved and just to kind of, go back to, how to get involved and things like that, just kind of show up. And, everybody has always just been so welcoming, and they're open to share, just about anything. And everybody on this call and everybody that you meet at these events, they're in the same shoes as you. So, there's a lot of similarities, and it's really easy to get along and you share the same experiences and everything else. So that's a little bit about me. Some of the hidden treasures that I wanted to talk about that Mark had mentioned was, the NTCA is a place to grow, and the relationships that you make with people in this industry is, to me, that's the biggest benefit of being in the NTCA. What I could learn from others and what others may learn from me is the number one thing that has helped, my business, has helped me grow. And, as long as we continue to do that, I think this industry or this association is going to be on the right path.
And I'll tell you the backstory to that is I was at a training with Custom Building Products in Southern California, and Sam's uncle Robbie was there, as well as some other Visalia tile people. We were doing a thin panel training course, and Mary Yoakum was there. And Mary said, "You really need to get to know these guys. They're fantastic." And I got talking with Uncle Robbie, and I said, "You guys should think about becoming a 5-star contractor." They'd been a member of NTCA much longer than myself, but never really involved. And I think it was just that chance connection right there between Mary doing the introduction and Robbie listening to me that got Visalia Tile re-engaged back in NTCA, and rather just pay the membership fee, they realized there was something more there behind the scenes that they'd probably not explored before. And that was a door that opened, and Visalia Tile jumped in with both feet right away. And then Sam started to move up the ranks pretty quick through their involvement. He did, started doing the tiny houses, the showcase, etc., and fully involved in the technical committee, and took it to another level that Visalia Tile probably didn't know even existed. Mm-hmm. And if anyone's met the Visalia Tile family, you can see they like to party and they're very passionate. So if you want a good party, just hang out with Sam and his family, because you're going to have a good time, that's for sure.
You better.
Let me jump back in for a second.
A lot of
I'm
energy.
sorry. Go ahead, Mark. Let me jump back in for a second, because I see a whole bunch of people that I'm not familiar with. And, one of the questions earlier was, well, how did you get involved, or why did you stay involved? And, truthfully, I just wouldn't take no for an answer. Just kept showing up because I kept talking to people that, as somebody mentioned earlier, all had the same issues and problems that I had. At the time that I first joined, I was on my own, single guy, doing Mrs. O'Leary's backsplash. And that was my first introduction to the NTCA, mostly because I knew I needed to learn more. And I knew that there was a whole bunch of stuff out there that I didn't know. So, if you're, whether you're a single man shop or woman shop or whatever, and you have something that you feel like you want to give back, or you have a interest in getting involved at whatever level, just don't take no for an answer. Just show up, and and because it's a volunteer organization, and we're constantly looking for and relying on people that are interested in volunteering. So it's really everybody's association.
I agree with that, Chris. And to add to that, don't feel intimidated by us. We are approachable. You shouldn't feel intimidated by coming up and asking us a question. We're very open to answer questions, and there's no such thing as a stupid question. I actually, applaud people for asking a question rather than not asking it and making a mistake. So, like Chris said, I joining NTCA was to better myself. It was something that I knew I could better myself. I wasn't happy, and I knew I could do better, but I just didn't know how to do better. And NTCA opened that door for me to become better.
We have a number of state ambassadors on this call, and we also have one of our regional directors on this call. I think he's new as a director, and that's Matt Wellner.
Hey, Matt.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So Matt is up and coming on the board of directors, and I think Matt, you kind of represent to me a lot of what Martin and Chris were just talking about. How people come up, they get involved, like you're getting involved and making a difference for yourself and for others. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, absolutely. I look forward to the opportunities ahead, and I agree 100% with what's being said. It's been a great opportunity, and look forward to what is in store for myself, my company, and the NTCA moving forward.
I appreciate that, Matt. And one thing I would say is, when you're in a pool of other tile companies, installers in your area, it's difficult to separate yourself out. But once you start being involved, especially as an ambassador or a state director, you start to gain the credibility of the go-to guy in your area. And then, I've met a lot of people who never used to talk to me before I got involved in NTCA, and now all of a sudden they're tapping on my window outside the warehouse in the morning to wind it down and ask me a question. So now I've become their go-to guy, and I'll answer. I don't have a problem answering their questions. I want to give them credible, good advice so that they become better, because as they become better, it drives the market price up, and we all benefit from that, right? So if I've got a guy who I know is the lowball guy, but he's making mistakes, he's either going to put himself out of business, or he's going to come tapping on my window asking how he can be better. And if he takes that next step in asking how he can become better, once he realizes what he needs to do, his prices go up. So his prices become more in line with mine. And then when it's a head-to-head on a bid, I'm comfortable doing that and going head-to-head on that bid, because now it's about credibility. It's about your resume, it's about work you've done, and the ability to perform. So I think that we all benefit when we get involved and we get others involved around us. Last thing we want to be is a desert island as an ambassador or a state director, because especially being a 5-star contractor or an NTCA member and you're an army of one, that's not going to help your local market. You've got to grow, and you've got to grow the membership so that you all can benefit from it, and you all will benefit from it. I'm proof of that. I can tell you firsthand, I benefited from it by growing membership and having people come on board.
Matt, we're so glad you're here today. John Cox, do you have something to add, sir?
Yeah, I wanted to add this. When I first started, my business, it was 1981. I started from scratch, didn't have any family before me. So I started out basically as a helper, moved into a tile setter, and then became a business owner. And one of the things that I kept on competing with is guys that have been in business for 20 and 30 years, and people would gravitate towards them because they had a longer history than a young guy coming up. And one of the things that I did is this was way before the internet. There were 2 magazines, Tile and Decorative Services and Tile Letter. And it was one of the first generations of workshops that came to San Antonio. And I remember that group, and it's like, how do I compete against these guys that have been in business for 20 and 30 years? And, looked up the NTCA, remembered about the workshop, joined. And I just came to the realization that the way that I could compete is with knowledge. And by having knowledge was more powerful than the company that had been in business for 20 years. Mm-hmm. And where I could talk intelligently about, specifications and products. And it helped me to overcome that hurdle of competing with these guys. And ultimately, I started getting involved, went to one of the first generation of really is like Total Solutions. It was in Dallas, and met Niall Watford. And, Niall and I shared a lot of the same commonalities. And then, he went his way and I went my way. And then, a couple of years later, we bumped into each other at coverings, and it's like, weren't you in Dallas? And it's like, yeah, I was. And I said, yeah, I kicked your tail in ping pong. And he still to this day denies it, but I did. Anyhow, we became really, really good friends. And one of the things that this is the part that people discount is you're in a town where you compete against your local competition. And you can't ask them questions because they're either going to tell you a bunch of BS or they're going to lie to you. So the beauty and the benefit is being able to reach across the country and talk to fellow contractors, because you can talk about virtually anything without tipping your hand of giving a competitive secret away, and talk about some of the challenges you have and sharing some of those to overcome challenges and issues. I don't like the word problem. I call it a challenge. But you can overcome those things because they're only a phone call away. Now with the internet, has opened up a whole different avenue altogether of sharing information. But being involved is, it's just going to these places. The first time I went, I remember being intimidated as hell of the people that I'd met. And after a period of time, just by listening, sitting there, being engaged, then they would engage me, and then it just led from my involvement. I've been a member since 1985, and I say to this date, and will go to my grave, it is the single best check I have ever written for my business. So, get involved. Don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated. It's a great organization. That's
Thanks,
it.
John. Yep.
John, thank you very much.
And also, Mark, they don't get credit because I don't think people know they exist. But in the back office, we've got Trish, we've got Barbie, we've got Michelle, and then with Tile Letter, we've got Leslie. I mean, we've got such a depth of people who are behind, who help all make this machine work that we don't really know about, or we don't know their existence. But these people do a terrific, hard job with keeping membership and making the wheels turn at NTCA. And we've been very fortunate, I think, in our draft picks that, like yourself, like Randy, like Rob, like Luis, as trainers. And in the past, when we look back, Michael Whistler, Gerald, I mean, we've always been very fortunate to have the right people helping others. And I just feel blessed that I am part of NTCA, and that I'm blessed to be current president and serve you all for the next 2 years. All I can say is thank you for giving me the opportunity to do so. And that was Robert Davis there. Hey, Rob. Are you there, Robert? Good.
Yes, sir.
Another industry. I got, from meeting this guy at the mud workshop that Ladder Creek put on in Southern California, and seeing where he is today with his business is the real value of NTCA. I feel like this guy has come light years, probably not only with NTCA, but the social media, because he's pretty active on social media. But this guy has grown so much, both personally and his business. It's amazing to watch it. I mean, that's where I get the true satisfaction of being part of NTCA, is watching guys like Robert, who help take it to the next level, and reading the story and watching them evolve into something that, if probably they didn't get the introduction to NTCA, they would still be pounding mud and working on the knees, and it would be hard for them moving forward, because we know there's a limited time frame that you can keep doing that. As you get older, you wear out, and it's hard on your body. And this guy is taking it to the next level, and that he's like a poster child of somebody who started with NTCA and where he is today from where he was in the past. And I applaud you for that, Robert. Well done, man.
Thank you, Martin. I look forward to having a meal with you when we can get all back together again.
I look forward
being a member of the NTCA and social media, like you said, if it weren't for those two factors affecting my life, I would very likely be framing houses like I was when I was younger, or I would be doing more, I'd probably still be running a business because I would have figured that out. But I don't think I would have known that tile could be such an amazing specialty trade, and something so gratifying to train young men and to have a community of guys that are all learning and doing life together. It's just the most rewarding thing ever, and I feel super blessed to be a part of it.
Well, given your personality, you would have got there, but it would have taken longer. So I feel like it's been beneficial to you because you've been able to miss some of the steps and climb the ladder a lot faster than you would without the help of social media and NTCA. And we have other members too. And it's like, really, for me, that really is the rewarding thing. It makes me feel good when I see people like Robert, who are able to start making money and start to grow a good business. And you can see he's very passionate about what he does, and he loves what he does. And that really is very rewarding to see that. I just want to thank everyone for being here and getting to know me a little better. Like I say, my number's 415-548-0483. Anybody wants to have a chat, I'm more than open to that. Call me anytime. Don't forget I'm Pacific time. So don't call me anytime if you're on the East Coast, because I don't want that call at 4 o'clock in the morning because you're at work. But bear in mind, it's Pacific time, 415-548-0483. And thank you, everyone, for listening to my story.
Martin, thank you very much. It's been very inspirational, and thanks to everyone who's contributed. And for Martin Brookes, do you have any parting words of wisdom for us, sir?
Well, again, it's a pleasure to serve you all. I'm looking forward to this next 2 years. I think that NTCA leadership have done a fantastic job of making COVID work for them with these very entertaining webinars, full of information, watching the artisans too, which is a different segment of our industry. Just absolutely phenomenal of keeping people engaged. And like everyone else, I'm looking forward to in-person meetings again, where we can talk and have fun and share stories. So stay safe out there. I know that COVID's still with us. Hopefully the vaccine will get rolled out real soon, and we can meet in person, and we can all get back to work as normal. So thank you, everyone. Looking forward to seeing you sometime in the not too distant future. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time.